It's a pleasure to be here. I've been asked to talk about business ethics, and it's a great pleasure because I enjoy working with businesses. I consult for sometimes very small companies, sometimes very large companies, and sometimes companies in between. And today I would like to try my best to offer a dialogue. I think it's very easy to come here and for all of us just to do our spiel about what we know, and then it's hard to articulate all those views. But if we're going to advance in this topic, we need to talk to each other. And so I'm going to try to articulate, on the one hand, the talk of Jeffrey Sachs. Okay. Oh, that's better. Okay, so Jeffrey Sachs, who gave us a grim diagnostic, with which I agree. Then Jaron Lanier, who is the tech optimist, and maybe Carmen Artigas, who has called for regulation and the importance of governance. And of course, many other people have talked around these three pillars that I hope to build a bridge between through ethics. I am not a pessimist, but neither am I a naive optimist. I'm an optimist of the will. I think it is a time to do the right thing, and everything else doesn't matter, and it's wasted energy. I think we are failing, and I think maybe we're in a good place to examine some mea culpa. I think the church is failing. I think academics are failing. I think we're failing to make an argument for why democracy matters, for inclusivity, for equality, and for virtue. I think the previous generation would not be impressed by us. I'm not sure the future generation is going to be impressed either, but I think we still stand a chance to rise up to the occasion. And I think that we have emphasized rights a lot, and that has been incredibly important after the Second World War. But with rights comes the other side of the coin, and that's duty. This is our world, and we are responsible for it, and we have to rise to the occasion. So I want my contribution to be a call to arms, although it's not really arms, it's more peaceful arms, and even more than that, constructive, critical thinking, creativity, innovation, and courage. It's the time to speak truth to power, to be brave, because if we're brave now, we might save ourselves and others much unnecessary suffering, and we might save ourselves the need to be even braver in the future. So companies need to step up. Companies have been incredibly important in the history of humanity. We're in Rome. Corporation was born in Rome. And as Jeffrey Sachs mentioned, corporations became more and more powerful, more and more corrupt. And they brought the Republic down. And once the empire was there, it never came back. The Republic never came back. But what Jeffrey didn't say was that corporations died for 1,000 years for their sins. Had they been more virtuous, more just, they wouldn't have died either with the Republic. And so corporations are there partly as a public service. The positive power of companies is incredible. At their best, they innovate in positive ways, they improve the quality of life, they bring us jobs, they create communities. And often, we tend to think about regulation as regulating companies, but often it's the other way around if you look at history. It's companies stepping up and innovating in best practices, and governments following, regulating after the best companies. And citizens also need to step up. We need to support the institutions that are doing the right thing. There are companies out there that are not the Google, they're not the Meta, they're not the Microsoft, who are doing the right thing. There's Proton, it's European, it's Swiss. I'm part of the board, full disclosure, but I'm part of the board because I believe in it. There's Empathy Holdings. There are people out there innovating, creating technology that supports democracy and doesn't undermine it. And we need to help them. We need to step up. So that's the first point I want to make. Second point, be careful with surveillance. Surveillance leads to authoritarianism. It is not a neutral technology. When you translate the analog into the digital, you create that data and you made something that wasn't trackable into something trackable, searchable, taggable. And what is it to track if it's not to surveil? Why is it that everywhere I look, there's a surveillance camera looking right back at me? What are we doing? Surveillance is tied to authoritarian regimes. We need to defend democracy because it's the best system that we know that leads to stability, peace, and fairness. And I am acutely aware that I'm saying this in a country that is a theocracy in which women do not vote. And we need to defend the ideals of equality and of fairness and democracy, because if not, make no mistake, we will lose our way of life. And future generations will have to build from the ashes. We still have a chance, but we need to practice what we preach. And the second point, surveillance is dangerous. The third, life is analog. By making everything digital, we are making ourselves dependent on these companies that have shown themselves to be incredibly untrustworthy. Not only are the companies untrustworthy, companies that have come up with this technology, the technology itself is incredibly untrustworthy. It's unreliable. It surveils on us. It hallucinates, actually confabulates is the most precise term. And every time we use the digital instead of the analog, we become more dependent on them. To cherish the analog. Everything that matters is analog. Your body is analog. Water, food, sleep, your house is analog. Your personal relationships are analog. Your community is analog. And if we neglect the analog world, which also includes the natural world of resources, we might lose it. And once we lose it, there's no recovering it. We saw this in the pandemic. You stop going to your favorite coffee shop and the coffee shop disappears and it's never coming back. So cherish the analog. The analog gives us power. Don't get rid of cash. Don't get rid of paper. Don't get rid of important relationships. At the end of the day, democracy is about relationships. It's about conversations between citizens and trust between citizens. So that's the third point. And the fourth point is this is the time to do what's right. I am so tired of the utilitarian conversation in which people are asking, but is it worth it? Is it worth the effort? Are we going to be successful? That's exactly what tech companies would like you to think, that it's all too late, that we're powerless. But there are battles that need to be fought, whether we win or we lose, because it's the right thing to do, and the rest doesn't matter. I don't know where we're headed. No one does. The future isn't written. But I do know that it's up to us, that we need to step up. That no matter where we're headed, I don't know about you, but I would like to be on the right side of history. I will do my part. And if you do your part, maybe we stand a chance. The European Union, in my view, the most successful political project in history, was founded on these values: solidarity, of commitment, of the optimism of the will. And Carmen is right that there are no guarantees when it comes to ethics. Absolutely right. Ethics is not authoritarian like code. Code makes you do things. It does things onto you. Ethics can only reason with you. It's a request to do what's right. People can only be ethical if they want to. But at the end of the day, it's the bedrock that upholds everything else that we care about: the law, code, family, democracy, knowledge, truth. Law is only paper if we don't honor it. And we can only honor it thanks to ethics. So I refuse to be a cynic. I've been saved by the kindness of strangers dozens of times. And I have met ordinary citizens and business people and policymakers who are willing to put ethics before profit or fame or even their own safety. So if you are one of those people, let's work together, because the stakes are high and it's getting close to midnight. But I believe in companies. Companies can be good citizens. They can help us, and not tech companies. I want all the rest of companies to come together and to have better tech companies like Proton. A better world is possible. Better technology is possible. We deserve better technology. So at the end of the day, ethics is nothing above and beyond good design. When I use an app and it surveils me and it exploits me, that's just a shoddy design. And we can do better. And I hope we do. Thank you.